You know, at first I wanted to record each and every specific individual preseason game, but then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Let me just cover every single last preseason game all at once. At the end, and that'll probably be better. It's less editing. And then I just put it all at once. It's a lot easier. So that's what I decided to do. So here we go. Let's go ahead and wrap up every single last preseason game that we saw. Well, not every single last one. It's just going to be a cumulative assessment of how the team did. So first off, I kind of want to talk about the run game because if we're being real, that's supposed to be the bread and butter of this team, so-called promised to us by Greg Roman. To show for that, in 4 games, we got Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders, as the number 1 rusher with 100 yards on 28 attempts, 3.6 yards a carry. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Rocket Sanders he's been the guy that I've been rooting for. I know people talk about Amari Hampton and everything, and of course I want him to be good and I want him to be better than Rocket Sanders. He's our number 1 first-round draft pick, for crying out loud. So of course I want him to be good, but let's be real, Sanders is that guy. His name is Rocket. He's got to be good. At least that's what I said. And he's been the leading rusher, and of course he's had a majority of the carries at this point, and he's played well for it too. He's played pretty well, behind an okay offensive line, one that hasn't necessarily been that great. All in all, I'd say that he's done pretty well. I like seeing him there, and I really do hope that he makes the final roster. As a matter of fact, I don't think he really has a chance to not make this roster, so he's got a pretty good chance, and I think he did well throughout all of the games, for sure. And we also got Hassan Haskins, 13 for 67 yards, 5.6 a carry. Haskins is actually a guy that I've always really liked. I like how he runs. I think he's a very hard runner. I think he hits the hole very hard every single time. It doesn't even matter. There could be absolutely nothing there. He's still going to hit the hole hard, and he hits it head first. It's kind of, I don't know. Some people might say I'm wrong, but I think it's Adrian Peterson-esque, but of course he's not as fast, and I don't think he hits as hard, but I think he's a very good runner in my personal opinion. I think he has a little wiggle. I think he's pretty good. He has some good juke moves. He can get out there. Yeah, he's got a little speed on him too, a little bit. He's not as fast as I would personally like, but I think he's a good back. And I'd like to see him on this team as well. Of course, depending on how many running backs we ultimately decide to end up keeping. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Omari Hampton. 4 carries for 21 yards total, 5.2 yards a carry. Now, we got to see him on a very limited basis, but let me just say, from what I saw, Omari Hampton is going to be that guy. He's definitely going to be that guy this season. And to be fair, that it was against backups, it was also our backup offensive line. I'm very excited to see what Omari Hampton is going to do this season. 4 attempts for 21 yards, that's excellent. And to be fair, 12 attempts for 67 with Hassan Haskins, that's also very good. I don't want to brush that under the rug. I'm also very excited to see these guys, see what they're going to do. I think all 3 of these guys are definitely going to make the 53-man roster. I don't think any of these guys are really in danger of being cut. But again, it really just depends on how many running backs we decide on keeping, because we have so many running backs on this team right now, and there's a lot of spots. There's limited spots for these guys to fill in. So. But of course, guys like Najee, Amarian, and I think Rocket Sanders are your locks. Probably, Kimani Vidal, he's probably going to be a lock on someone's roster. I don't mind seeing, keeping him around. And then Hassan Haskins, I want to see him. I want to see him around too. I just do. But I know the roster is limited. I know. But then of course, like Jerry, he might get, he's probably gone. All the other guys that we got, but. Regardless, I am pretty confident in our rushing attack in our room, at least as far as running back talent. The offensive line is a whole other story. That's a whole other ball game that we can tackle later. But as far as the talent that we have at running back, I think we're good. Personally, I think we're good. There's no other guys that I'm like, okay, we need to get another running back to fill this position, because I think we're good. I think we got it. I think we're good for the season. Moving on to the receivers. Some standouts that we have here is Campbell. Now this guy, and I say Campbell because I f*** up his name every single time. Davion, I can't even read my own handwriting. Let's just go with Delvon Campbell. I know that's wrong, but it. 8 receptions for 147, 18.4. I'm not gonna lie, I was sleeping on this guy, but especially in the past few games, he's been coming in clutch. He's been making big catches. I feel like he's pretty reliable. He doesn't look confused out there. It seems like he knows what he's doing. Actually, there were a few plays where if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Campbell, where the ball was overthrown, but he was also looking to the wrong side, and there was a bit of confusion on the route. But regardless, I think he is a good receiver, and I wouldn't mind keeping him around. But at the end of the day, this wide receiver room is also very packed, and we can only keep a certain amount of people. So I don't know if Campbell necessarily would make this roster, unfortunately. Hopefully he could stick around on the practice squad maybe, but I mean, who knows. But next up, we got KLS, Kill Luke Skywalker Smith with 4 receptions for 109. 27.25 a catch. Now I gotta say, Keandre Lambert-Smith, along with everyone else, has been everyone's favorite receiver, and I don't blame him because he has absolutely showed out. And to be fair, it hasn't been that many catches, but at the same time, it's very telling with the catches that he did have. He made the most of his opportunities. He showed that he can catch the ball when it hits him, and he could take a hit, considering he took that one big hit last week. I'm pretty impressed with Keandre Lambert-Smith. I said coming into the season that he was probably going to be the guy, even more so ahead of our second-round pick. And that's no shade at Trey Harris. I'm just saying that ahead of the season, my prediction was that Keandre would probably be the better prospect, and that I'm personally a bit higher on him than I am with Trey Harris. I know some people may disagree with me, but although considering at this point in the season, we all might possibly be on the same page. No offense to Trey Harris, because I'm still rooting for the guy. And speaking of him, we got Trey Harris with 6 receptions for 85 yards, 14.2 a catch. Now, I think in the beginning, he was still trying to adjust to the system, still trying to adjust to the plays, and also I think I don't necessarily think it was his fault for not getting any catches in the beginning, because let's be real, he wasn't really being targeted all that much. And then the targets that he did get were ass. Did you see some of those targets that he got? Throwing it over his head, throwing it to the side in the dirt. Now let's just be real. Some of those were Heineke hours. Let's be real. Those were a majority of his targets, and I feel bad for him. But he still found a way to get those 6 receptions for 85 yards, and I think he did well. In the past, not this week against the 49ers, but the week before. Who did we play? I can't even remember who we played, but he played very well, and I was impressed somewhat, because the biggest concern that I saw around the Chargers community has been his ability to separate, which I was also concerned about a little bit, not too much, because again, maybe I'm more concerned about the regular season and how he looks when the season actually comes, because at the end of the day, we really don't know how these things are going to turn out until we actually see him suit up against the other team starters. As of right now, I'm content with the receiving room and what we saw during these preseason games, but at the same time, I definitely want to see a little more from these guys, especially considering someone like Campbell probably won't even make this roster, if we're being real. He's probably not going to make this roster, so I definitely want to see more from Kill Luke Skywalker and Trey Harris. And of course, we got Keenan Allen back as well. I didn't cover that, but we could talk about that when the season actually comes. Regardless, moving on to the passing game, we got Trey Lance and DJ Ukulele. Trey Lance putting up 334 yards throughout the entire preseason, and DJ Ukulele putting up 244 yards during the preseason. Now, Trey Lance went 32 of 57, and Ukulele went 19 of 35. And to be fair, those are similar percentages, probably around maybe 56-ish%. I think that's like 56, 54, something like that. So it's a similar completion percentage overall. And I think they both played decently well. I think Trey Lance played better mostly because he had the rushing yards. He was able to use his legs to get past, to get out of sticky situations when nobody was getting open, during the Trey Harris hours, right? So while no one was getting open, he was able to use his legs and keep the play going, keep the offense on the field, and he led the team down to score touchdowns a few times. So I'm very confident in Trey Lance being our backup quarterback, and this is coming from a guy who was very high on Taylor Heineke. And as we saw during the preseason, it didn't really turn out too well for him. DJ has played very well too. I might stop calling him Ukulele if he keeps playing good. I think that those two guys are. I think they have a very high likelihood of making this roster. Trey Lance, he's making this roster. Let's not misunderstand. He is making this roster for sure. Ukulele, of course, it's going to be a toss-up between him and Heineke. Heineke has the veteran discount, so I wouldn't be surprised if we gave it to Heineke, and I can't even necessarily say that I will be mad at it, because Heineke does know how to manage a game. he technically speaking knows what he's doing. He's been in the league for a while. He knows how to learn a playbook. He knows how to run all of these plays. But I do think that, of course, I think DJ has a much higher floor than Heinicke does, because we've seen Heinicke's floor. We've seen what that looks like, unfortunately. But regardless, Trey Lance is going to be QB2. Moving on to the defense, because there are a few guys I want to talk about on defense throughout this entire time, and those 4 guys. Let's start with Marlo Wax, because he had 2 sacks and 18 tackles. I've been impressed with him. I think he's played well at the linebacker position that we have. We're not necessarily. We actually, you know what? We are a little thin at the linebacker position, and we could use a lot of help, especially considering what's going on with Junior Colson right now, and even the gun situation with Denzel Perryman. We didn't even know if he'd be returning. I'm very happy to see that that Wax is progressing. He's playing well, and we'll be able to use him throughout the season along with Dye. I think that he has a bright future. I think he has a higher floor than I originally thought that he had. And I'm excited to see what he does in the season. And then next up, we got Eric Rodgers, the man who got hurt early on in the preseason. But even still, with the little sample size that we did see, we saw that this man had 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. I'm not going to lie, off of that alone, I'm sold. That's all I need to see. We need to keep Eric Rodgers. I think he is an excellent depth piece. I don't think that he's necessarily a starter right now, but I absolutely think that if someone like Cam Hart goes down, I think that we can have an Eric Rodgers out there. Or I think if Tarheeb still goes down, he'd probably be the replacement in the slot maybe. But yes, Eric Rodgers, I think he played excellent for the time that he was in the game. I like his play, to have the instincts of when he can jump around, when it's okay, where to be in the right place, where to be in the zone in the correct spot. I like his placement. Even the plays where he didn't get an interception, I liked his play overall. I'm definitely a little excited to see what Eric Rodgers does. Hopefully he recovers from his injury. I don't know right now if he's off of his injury or not. Probably not. It was, because all things considered, it was fairly recent. So shout out to Eric Rodgers. I think he's making the roster for sure. And then we also got RJ Mickens, who had 11 tackles, 10 assisted tackles, totaling 21 tackles, because let's be real, it's basically 21 tackles. Now, with RJ Mickens, I think he played well overall too, but what I really wanted to talk about was his tackling technique, because I really like the way that he gets the opponent down, because it's very aggressive, and it seems like he knows where to tackle him and when to do it. And I also like the fact that he doesn't allow any break-off runs. If he's going to be the guy that's going to tackle you, he's going to get you down right there where the two of you meet. That's something that you always like to see. Then we got Nico Reed, another guy that I kind of wanted to just talk about a little bit, because I also like him in coverage. I think he did a really good job. I think he had some good breakup plays. I think he also had an interception as well. And I think that he's also a pretty decent depth piece as well. Him and Eric Rodgers, I think, can be some developmental pieces that we can have, especially since we typically do have a lot of injuries throughout the season. So I think that they can possibly be in that rotation. So I definitely hope that Nico Reed and Eric Rodgers can be 2 of those guys that make that roster. And I'm definitely excited to see all 4 of those guys overall throughout the season, because I'm pretty sure they're going to make it. And now there's also some other guys that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Junior Colson, Kyle Kennard, and another guy. So Junior Colson, I'm not going to say he's playing bad. He definitely isn't playing good, and he seems like a fish out of water. I don't know if he maybe needs another year to develop, which I'm cool with. I'm fine with. It's tough, because I want to see him. I want to see the Junior Colson that we saw in college. I want to see that guy. I want to see that guy who can play fast, who knows what he's doing, who can be in the right places. Every time I watch him play, I feel like Collinsworth. I'm like, I don't know. Should we keep him? I don't know. So we'll see what happens with Junior Colson. We'll see what he's doing. I don't want to speak too much on him, because at the end of the day, we really don't know. And I don't really care about preseason too much. I care about what they do in the season. So we'll see, because he's definitely going to be in the rotation. Next, we have Kyle Kennard, who's been very quiet, honestly speaking. And he's a guy that I was very excited to see after the draft. He was a guy that I definitely wanted to see more from. But to be honest with you, he's been super quiet. Hasn't really done too much yet. I mean, he had some tackles here and there, but he hasn't really been that, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year that, that was kind of sold to us at the draft. So we'll just have to see what he does throughout the season. We'll have to see if he, maybe he's still trying to get the hang of things. Maybe he's still trying to get the speed of the game. We'll just have to see about that. I'm still kind of high on Kyle. We'll see. We'll just have to see what he does at the end of the day. And then next up, we have QJ, Quentin Johnson. Now, first things first, I hope he gets better. I hope he recovers from his concussion. It's not great to see players get injured, but let's be so very real. This man's still dropping passes. I saw him drop that pass before he got hit. I don't know if maybe he saw the defender and he said, let me put this down so he doesn't put me down. But regardless, it didn't work. He still got hit, and he still dropped it and then got hit. So I'm just saying, I don't know. We'll have to see what he does in the season because they're not going to cut him. He's going to make this roster for sure. I don't know, man. QJ, he seems like he still has that drop ability. I'm not looking forward to that. And to be honest with you, QJ is he's definitely one of the least exciting players that I want to see this season. Because at this point, I feel like we know what QJ is. There's definitely still room for improvement, but for what he does, we know what he is. At this point, I think we should just stop throwing him deep passes. Stop giving him go routes. Stop. Give it to KLS and Trey Harris. I'd rather see Trey Harris get the go routes than Quentin Johnson at this point. Just give Quentin Johnson all the screen passes. Maybe we can any receiver running plays that we have in the book, we can just give it to QJ, or any short passes, even slants. Put him in the slot or something. I don't know. Take him off. Don't give him go routes, because I feel like he's just gonna bobble it and give it to the other team. I feel like it's just waiting to happen. Take him out of that bad situation and put him into a situation that he knows and can succeed in. That's all I'm saying. Because we have those X receivers now, or at the very least, we can throw them into that fire. Take QJ out of there. It's a fire that keeps growing. And then next up, lastly, I got two guys that I want to talk about. Jasir Taylor is the first guy, because we need to get him out of here immediately. Get out! I'm sorry, that may have been a bit too much, but let's be real. Jasir Taylor has been terrorizing me for a very long time, and I don't appreciate it. He's been giving me nightmares, night terrors. I've been sleepwalking. I can't go to bed ever, thinking about what this Jasir Taylor might do next, what touchdown he might give, or what big play. The defensive guru made him a starter for whatever reason, and every time I see him, I just get flashbacks of bad things. I'm sure Jasir Taylor is a great man, but I can't lie. They call me Abe Lincoln. I tell no lies. We must get rid of Jasir Taylor. Please let him go, please. I don't think he makes the 53-man roster, but this is the Chargers organization. We can expect bad things from time to time. So who knows? He might make it. And if he does, I will cry. Next up, I want to talk about Brendan Rice, a guy that I feel like people were 50-50 on. Some people were high on, some people weren't. But at the same time, he is the son of Jerry Rice. People are saying, oh, he's gonna be him. But I mean, that's a lot of pressure to have on one kid. And unfortunately, he's in a stacked wide receiver room. Stacked in the sense that, I mean, you're not cutting Keenan Allen. You just signed him. We have KLS. We got Trey Harris. We got Quentin Johnson. We got Darius Davis. I think Jalen. We even signed Jalen Reagor too. I almost said Mike Williams by accident. But we got all these guys, and I think Campbell is above him as of right now. So I definitely don't see how Brendan Rice makes this room, unless maybe he stays on the practice squad. Aside from that, I don't think he's on this team. But shout out to Brendan Rice. He seems like a great guy. He really does. I don't hate him at all. I'm just saying, I don't think he makes this team, if I'm being real. That's pretty much the entirety of the preseason and my outlook on it. I think the Chargers played well overall, even though they went 1-2 because they don't count the Hall of Fame game. I think going into this season, first game against the Chiefs in Sao Paulo, I think it's going to be a good game. Like I said before, before Rashawn Slater got hurt, I had the Chargers winning that game. But considering Rashawn Slater is out, I really don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win 27-24. I am amending what I said in my previous video about the Chargers winning that game, because Rashawn Slater getting hurt absolutely changes everything, unfortunately. So because of that, I don't think the Chargers pull that one out, unfortunately. But let me know what you think. If you think the Chargers win, look, that's no skin off my back. I also hope the Chargers win. Hopefully I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. Matter of fact, I hope I'm never right again. Regardless, let me know what you think about that. I'm gonna get some food. I'm hungry and it's hot as hell outside, so I'll see you later.